long ago in Ireland, there was a band of Irish warriors called the Fianna, and their leader was a man named Fionn McCool. Fionn McCool and his Fianna, they roamed Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, and they had great adventures, tales of which are still told to this day. But of all the places in Ireland that they visited, oh, security, we got a wild woman over here with a cane. Of all the places they visited, they only ever went to the Isle of Arran once, and this story is why. Now, Fionn and his Fianna were on the Isle of Arran and they were exploring when suddenly a dark fog fell about them. And they couldn't see where they were going, and they couldn't see where they had been. And these were some of the greatest trackers that Ireland had ever seen. But through the fog, they saw a candle, a light burning from a candle, and they followed it until finally they came to a house they found right nestled into the mountain, and there was a candle in the window. And Fionn McCool himself walked to the door of that house, and he knocked upon it, and the door was opened to him, and there was an old man who looked at them. And Fionn McCool said, "Old man, please, share some of your hospitality with us. We are lost in this dark fog, and it puts a chill in our bones. Let us sit by your turf fire." And the old man looked at them, and he was not impressed. But still Fionn continued to speak. He said, "Old man, I am the great Fionn McCool, and these are my Fianna. Surely you've heard of us. Imagine a day when you will talk to your grandchildren about the great day when Fionn McCool came to visit you." And the old man smiled, but his smile was without warmth, and his smile was without humanity. And the Fianna felt a chill in their bones that had nothing to do with the fog. But still the old man let them in, and they sat down by the turf fire, and they removed their armor, and they piled their weapons in a corner, and they warmed themselves. And after a time a woman appeared and served them bread and ale and cheese. And this woman was beautiful. And every Fianna to the man tried to woo that girl. They tried to seduce her, they tried to charm her, but she just pushed them away. And she said, "You spent no time with me when you had me, and now I have no time for you." Even the great Fionn McCool tried to charm that girl, but she pushed him away. And she said, "You had no time to spend with me when you had me, and now I have no time for you." And the Fianna went to Fionn McCool, and they said, "This woman speaks of us as if she knew us, but we've never seen this girl before in our lives." And Fionn agreed. It was suspicious, but he said nothing. They continued to enjoy the evening, and after a time there was a knock at the door, and the girl opened the door, and there was a goat. She let the goat in, and it started making a nuisance of itself. It knocked over the tables, and it knocked over the chairs. It bit the Fianna. It drank the ale, and it ate the cheese. And the old man, in frustration, he said, "I can't believe that girl let that thing in here. Fionn McCool, you are one of the greatest warriors that Ireland has ever produced. Surely you can capture a goat for me and put it tied up by the turf fire." And Fionn McCool said, "Of course." But the goat was too vicious. It was too wiry. It was too strong. They could barely catch the thing, and even when they did, Fionn McCool came over and tried to lift that goat, and he couldn't budge it. The flagstones beneath his feet cracked as he tried to lift the goat. And the old man said, "You want something done right," he said. And he reached out with his cane, he caught the goat by the horns, and he pulled it close to him, and he tied it up by the turf fire. And when the Fianna saw that, they were alarmed. They went to Fionn McCool, and they said, How could this old man have succeeded? Were all of us failed? Even you, with your great strength, you couldn't lift the goat?" And Fionn agreed. It was very suspicious. And he turned to the old man, he said, "Old man, you are not what you seem. Tell me, who is that girl? For every Fianna to the man swore to me that he had never seen her before, and yet she spoke of us as if she knew us." "Fionn McCool," said the old man. "That girl is youth. And she spoke truly when she said that none of you took the time to appreciate her when you had her, and now she has no time for you, for no man can regain his lost youth. At this, Fionn McCool stood up and he faced the old man and he said, "Old man, tell me, what is that goat?" Fionn McCool, that goat is the world. And no man can master the world. Any man who tries only makes a bigger mess of everything. At this, Fionn pulled out his sword and he pointed at the old man. He said, "Tell me, old man, who are you?" Fionn McCool, I am death. For only death can master the world. And as great as you are, and as great as you will be, one day you and I will meet, and you will not best me. And at this, the Fianna and Fionn McCool drew their swords and they made to attack the old man. But instead, they all fell asleep. And when they awoke, they found themselves in a cave. The girl was gone, the old man was gone, the house was gone. So was the goat. And every Fianna to the man, they picked up their belongings and they got off the Isle of Arran and they never returned. And that is the story of Fionn McCool and the old man. Thank you very much. I would like to welcome Mel Backstrom to the stage. We've been rehearsing this for weeks. Weeks, I tell you. Yes. Yes. So when I say, "At Intellex's shop, walk the man," that's the cue for the entrance music. Intellex's shop, walk the man. I'm going to take a pause before it and then you'll know it's coming. Instead of a little dramatic, dangerous music, that would be great. Thank you. So Mel's going to provide a little bit of musical ambiance for this next story. And this next story is called Lex and the Devil. It's not an Irish evening unless you have stories about the devil and death. It's culture, my friends. Culture. And once upon a time, there was a man named Lex. And Lex was a blacksmith. And although he smoked too much and he drank too much, he was the finest blacksmith in the 4 counties and everyone liked him well enough. Now one day Lex was working in his shop when in through the shop door came a woman. And in one hand she had the leg of a cauldron, and in the other she had a cauldron with only 2 legs. And as soon as Lex saw this woman, he knew he was looking at a witch. So he got to work on her cauldron, reattaching the leg, and when he was done, the witch said that she had no money to pay him. Now, this was no trouble for Lex, because really the job took almost no time, and he didn't want the witch changing him into something he had no interest in being. So he was happy to do it on the house. But no, the witch said, "No, look, I'm ready to pay you, it's just not with money. I'm going to pay you with wishes. What's your first wish?" Well, Lex had to think about that one for a while, and he said, "You know, people are always coming into my shop, and they're constantly borrowing my tools. So I want you to fix it so that if anyone picks up any of my tools, they can't put them down unless I say so." "Done," said the witch. "What's your second wish?" Well, Lex had to think about that one for a long while, and he said, "You know, sometimes people come to visit me. Sometimes they don't stay long enough, and sometimes they stay for too long. I want you to fix it so that if anyone sits in any of my chairs, they can't get up until I say so." "Done," said the witch. "What's your third wish?" Well, Lex had to think about that one for a long time, and he said, "You know, money is tight. I don't even know where it goes half the time, so I want you to fix it so whenever I put money in my wallet, it can't come out unless I say so." "Done," said the witch. She picked up her cauldron and she walked out. Now the rest of that year for Lex was pretty uneventful. You know, he still smoked too much and he still drank too much, but he didn't spend nearly as much money on the horses. Until it was the following summer. It was the hottest day in summer, and into Lex's shop walked a man. Perfect. He was all dressed in black. Black leather pants with the flames stitched up the side, the black shirt, the black jacket, the black hat with silver skulls. And as soon as Lex saw this man, he knew he was looking at the devil. And the devil looked at Lex and he said, "I've been waiting a long time for your soul, and you're coming with me and we're going for a walk, and I think you know where we're going." And Lex said, "Devil, I am so ready to go with you. I am ready. You know what, but just give me a second. Let me put my shop in order. You hand me that hammer, I'm going to put it away, and I'll be on the road with you." And the devil saw no trouble with that. He went over and he picked up the hammer, and as soon as he did, he knew he was in trouble because he could not let that hammer go. He took the other hand and tried to pry it out of the first hand, and now both hands were stuck. He picked up a foot and he tried to push the hammer out of his hands, and now his foot was stuck and he was hopping around the shop like a fool. Lex, Lex, said the devil, help me, I can't let go of this hammer. I'll do anything. Oh, I can help you, said Lex. But I want you to promise me I won't see your ugly mug in these parts for a whole year. Anything, said the devil. And Lex snapped his fingers and the hammer fell out of the devil's hands. He was so surprised he tripped over both feet and he fell out of the shop. And he wasn't seen in those parts for a whole year. But a year to the day. It was the hottest day in summer. It was the hottest day in 10 summers. And into Lex's shop walked a man. All dressed in black. With the black leather pants, with the flames stitched up the side, the black shirt, the black jacket, the black hat with silver skulls. And when the devil saw Lex, he said, no more tricks. You're coming with me and we're going for a walk, and I think you know where we're going. And Lex said, devil, I am so ready to go with you. I've been waiting for a year for you to come back. Look, I'm just going to put my shop in order before I go. Have a seat. I'll be right with you. So the devil went down, he found the most comfortable seat, and he sat down in it, and as soon as he did, he knew he was in trouble, because he could not get out of that chair. He pushed and pulled and tugged, and it started to hurt in a very private place. And he cried out, he said, Lex, help me, I can't get out of this chair. Oh, I can help you, said Lex. But I want you to promise me I won't see your ugly mug in these parts for a whole year. Anything, said the devil. Lex snapped his fingers and the devil jumped out of that chair. He was so surprised he tripped over both feet and he fell out of the shop. And he wasn't seen in those parts for a whole year. But a year to the day. It was the hottest day in summer. It was the hottest day in 100 summers. And into Lex's shop walked a man. All dressed in black. With the black leather pants, with the flames stitched up the side, the black shirt, the black jacket, the black hat with the silver skulls. And as soon as the devil saw Lex, he said, that's it, no more shenanigans, no more cleaning up the shop, no more sitting in chairs, no nothing. You're coming with me and we're going for a walk and I think you know where we're going. Well, what could Lex do? He dropped what he was working on and he walked out in the summer sun with the devil. Now it was so hot on that day, even the devil was sweating. And when Lex saw that, he got an idea, and he said, devil, look, I can see you're suffering. It's so hot today. Look, I'm not inhuman. I got an idea that'll not only ease your suffering, but it'll cheat an honest man out of a day's pay. I'm listening, said the devil. Well, look, you change yourself into 2 shiny dimes, and I'm going to walk into that general store, and I'm going to get 2 cream sodas. I'll pay with the dimes, and then I'm going to come back out here. You change yourself into moths or flies or something. Come back out here, take human form. I'll give you 1 cream soda. I'll have the other cream soda, and we will continue our walk on this beautiful day. I like the way you think, Lex, said the devil, and he disappeared in a puff of black smoke, and on the ground there were 2 shiny dimes. Well, Lex reached down and he picked up the dimes, and he put them in his wallet. And now the devil was in trouble, because he could not get out of the wallet, and he couldn't change himself back into human form. So Lex took the wallet, and he went into the blacksmith's shop, and he put it there on an anvil. He got out his favorite hammer, and he let fly with that hammer, and he struck the wallet with all of his strength, and the hammer exploded. And Lex was tossed back 10 feet. Well, he wasn't going to give up. He went over and picked up a sledgehammer, and he came over to the anvil, and he let fly with that sledgehammer with all of his strength. And the sledgehammer just bounced right off the wall. It went right through the ceiling, and Lex was tossed back through 2 walls, and he found himself on the street. Well, he got up, dusted himself off, he went into the shop, and he found the biggest hammer he could find. He could barely lift this thing over his head, and he went teetering and tottering through the blacksmith shop, aiming for the anvil, and he let fly with that hammer, and when it hit the wallet, the hammer exploded. The wallet was reduced to ash. The blacksmithy blew itself apart, and the ashes from the wallet mixed in with the ashes from the forge, and it formed a mushroom cloud that covered the world. And everyone in the world, they started breathing in that ash. And suddenly, everyone started telling lies. Now, some of those people became bankers, and some of them became politicians and lawyers, and the rest of them, well, they became storytellers. And that's Lex and the Devil. A hand here for Mel Backstrom, please. Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Along